Peace, everyone. How y'all doing? Peace, peace, peace. We having some technical difficulties over here. I don't know what's going on, but it is Wednesday. This is introducing the PodClass, and I am so glad that you are here. Can y'all hear me? Can you let me know if you can hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me. Put a thumbs up if you can hear me. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can hear me now. Welcome to introducing the PodClass. I am your host guide, Smart Video Girl. This is a place where we learn and we grow together. This is a place for awareness and mastery, and we are about to get into this work. So let's walk with me. We are going to get into this PodClass. Class is officially in session. All right. So we are we are into, oh my God, I can't believe it's been a whole month, right? We started the podcast and we started in March. It is now April. It's the second week of April by that, but it is now April. We are well into the self mastery course. Okay, this whole entire season we're talking about self mastery. Okay, and you know now I'm gonna call myself the self mastery guru because that's my name over there at the Pronoia. That's my second home over there. Like actually my first home. I love it over there in Pronoia. So if you haven't checked me out over there, make sure you check me out because the content there is different here than it is here. So you're not getting the same thing. So don't think just because you come to introducing that you don't have to go to Pronoia because the information is different. Okay, in Pronoia we dug into the book, so I hope you check that out. All right, this week we are diving into boundaries. Okay, we are diving into boundaries. And before I get too far ahead of myself and everything like that, I want to make sure that we're clear about what it is that we are doing here today, what the purpose of this podcast is, what you're going to be getting from it, um, and uh, how you can utilize this information because that is what is important. So today's topic is, as you can see on the blackboard there, boundaries are the highest form of self-respect. How sway? Smart video girl, tell me how. And I'm going to do that. So make sure you have your pen, make sure you have your journals, make sure you have your water bottle. Have to get you some hydration. Um, you know, because we're going to get into it. But this is what we do. And before we do any of that, we're going to set today's intention. Today's intention for this show, when you are listening to understand what is yours to carry and what is not. Okay? Boundaries are helping us to see what is ours to carry, ours to regulate, and what is not. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. And let's see, where do I want to go from there? So I don't have a whole lot of announcements today. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a whole lot of announcements. The one announcement that I do have that I will always have is to make sure that you get this lovely book here. Okay, this is Do the Work, Keep the Faith. I do have them available, and I do have a special. Okay, so if you're here, you're watching. If you're here, you're watching. It's not a discount for you, but it's a way for you to pour into community, right? If you mention Pronoia, right? And I'll spell it for you. If you mention Pronoia, you don't have a book, you purchase a book, a portion of the proceeds will go to a Pronoia Starseed podcast, Pronoia University, which is it's a wonderful collective and it does a lot for a lot of people. So if you do that, then yeah, that's how it will go. That's what we're doing. Okay. I I know you guys y'all don't understand. I really love Pronoia. So make sure you go and check that out. Okay. All right. Anyways, we're going to get into it. Don't forget today's topic is boundaries. We're going to get deep into boundaries. Do you have boundaries? Ask yourself that now. Check your boundaries before we even get into this. Because we're going to get into the musical therapy in a minute. But while we're listening to the musical therapy, think about your boundaries. Think about where you have boundaries. Think if you even have boundaries. Think if you enforce your boundaries. We're going to talk about all of that in one quick minute. But first, we're going to get into this musical therapy, which is a song. It's called R.I.P. Captain Save the Ho. Okay? All right. Enjoy, and I'll be right back.
Here lies Captain Save a Ho. Though she tried to save many a ho, she couldn't even save herself. Rest in peace, Captain Save a Ho.
Everything is up in flames. I said all that I have to say. And close the door, close the door, close the door, close the door. Not gonna participate in any other silly games anymore, 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 anymore. For a long time, I've been a rider to run it hiders, and I took the blame, but I missed it. God as my witness, should have predicted that I'd be done the same. I can't save nobody. I put my cape down, sorry. I'm gonna need some boundaries, 'cause I'm keeping my peace. I can't save nobody. I put my cape down, sorry. I'm gonna need some boundaries, 'cause I'm keeping my peace.
Are you ready?
Is this on?
I mean, who am I gonna call in the middle of the night?
It's so sad she's dead, you know?
I thought she was gonna pass me on. But it looks like she just went ahead and passed on herself.
She probably not even dead.
Spreading those white women lies about feminism and the LGBTQ plus LMNOP.
She was always so angry and aggressive about everything.
The black womb, man, is built for survival. Maybe she just wasn't strong enough.
What was she angry about?
Oh, you know. Police killing black, African American, POC people.
So I guess my job in this particular bloodline is done.
Everything is up in flames. I said all that I have to say. Close the door, close the door, close the door, close the door. Not gonna participate in any other silly games anymore, 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 anymore. Everything is up in flames. I said all that I have to say. Close the door, close the door, close the door, close the door. Not gonna participate in any other silly games anymore, 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 anymore. Yeah, 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 yeah. I put my cape
Hey. I love it.
So y'all are making a documentary about Captain Save-A-Ho? Why am I here?
Well, people seem to believe you murdered her.
Well, it was her or me.
I love that track. Oh my God, I love that track. Oh wow, that was Captain Save-A-Ho. And listen, she said, I'm gonna need some boundaries because I'm keeping my peace. Okay, everything is up in flames. Said that all that I would have to say. Close the door. Close the door. Close the door. She said she needed boundaries. All right. So that is perfect because today we're talking about boundaries being the highest form of self respect. So I hope during that musical break session, and thank you, Miss Patricia Glenn. Thank you. I'm glad you like that song. I'm glad you like that track. We are going to get into the topic because I don't want to labor it any longer. And so let's get right into it. Okay. So let's start with a quote. So, just so we can set the tone, so you can understand again what we are doing. Today's intention is to understand what is ours to carry and what is not. She just told you, I can't save nobody. I put my cape down. Sorry. I'm going to need some boundaries because I'm keeping my peace. Understand what is yours to carry and what is not. Okay. The quote is, boundaries are not about keeping people out, they are about staying connected to yourself. This is very important for us to understand. Okay. So let's get into it. What are boundaries? Who knows what are boundaries? Put in the chat what you think boundaries are. What are your thoughts? What do you think boundaries are? What's an example of boundaries? What are boundaries really used for? How do you use boundaries? And so while you guys are putting us in the chat, I'm gonna share a little story about the queen. I know a queen. The queen is me. I am the queen. And this is how I explain my boundaries, right? I'm the queen in the castle. Okay, I sit on the throne in the center of the castle, right? I have a beautiful, lush, plush room that I sit in with my big throne, beautiful, high ceilings, all that beautiful, right? I'm the queen. You want to come in. I have boundaries. In order to get to the queen, right? In order to get access to the queen, it's in order for me to maintain my peace and have autonomy and rule over my queendom, I have to stay connected. I can't allow people to disturb my peace. So you can't just have access to the queen. You have there's levels, there's boundaries, right? Some people aren't even allowed in. You know, you can't get past the moat. Then once you get past and go over the drawbridge, then you still got to walk down the long hall, and you got to pass a whole lot of rooms. You got to pass a whole lot of things in order to get access to the queen. Okay, so there are boundaries. All right, you don't just have access. Okay, if anybody just has access to you, that means you don't really respect yourself. You should have boundaries. It should not be that easy to get to you. Okay? Because at the end of, yeah, we'll get into it. So what are boundaries? All right. Boundaries are not walls. That's what they are not. Okay? Boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines for how you are treated. Okay? They reflect self-respect and not control. Again, I'm the queen. I respect myself. And I just don't let any old person or any old body have access to me. It's not a wall, it's a boundary. It's a form of respect. If I let anything, oh my gosh, just run up on me, what does that really say about how I value myself? Someone says I don't appreciate myself. Right. Oh no. Boundaries are important. They are key. And again, they are not walls. So, and now this is say, so it says agreed. Sometimes it takes someone breaching Those boundaries for you to realize you now have to have your boundaries are too low. Absolutely. 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 Somebody breaches. And so I want to make a distinction here. I want to make a distinction because a lot of times people are like, oh, you got about your walls are too high. You got walls up in there. Okay, listen. It's called a boundary. Okay. And if you can't respect my boundary, that means you want to just ransack me. Listen, we're not doing this. If you have boundaries and people don't respect your boundaries, that is the first sign that you need to run, run, run. Okay. Boundaries become walls when they're not used properly. Okay. Boundaries become walls when they start to, because this is the thing, true boundaries are more self-regulating. It's more saying, oh, okay, yeah, and back up 10 feet. That's a boundary. I don't need you breathing on me. That's a boundary. Back up 10 feet. Okay. I need space. I need room to breathe for myself. I can't be consumed with you. You can't be too close to me because I need space to breathe. If somebody needs to be in your space and they feel like it's necessary, run. Boundaries about self-worth. It's about your emotion. It's about your responsibility to yourself, to regulate, to make sure that you can control your thoughts and your emotions. I know I personally had to set boundaries so that I could control my emotions. Those boundaries for me. Okay, Crystal, if it gets beyond this point, you might snap. You might become a person that you don't like. So we're not even going to do that. We're going to set this boundary right here. When people start acting like this, when you see this, you and you go the other way. Or you do whatever it is that you have set up for yourself, guideline. It's to how you are treated, and when that guideline is violated, you skirt. You go the other way. You move on. That's a boundary. It's more of a, oh, okay. So the boundary is this. Okay. I like to be treated like this, and this. Oh, that's not happening. Okay, I'm out. So these are what boundaries are. Okay. And healthy boundaries you communicate healthy boundaries. People who have health boundaries and they can communicate them effectively, they know how to communicate them so that people don't necessarily feel like they're being put off. But listen, if someone is telling you that they have boundaries, do not be offended. Because again, boundaries are not for you. I'm saying if somebody is giving you boundaries that they're saying, hey, I really don't like, they're telling you what it is that they need in the relationship. They're telling you how they would like to be treated in the relationship. And if you don't respect their quote unquote boundaries, that means you don't respect the person. And if you allow someone to violate your boundaries, then you don't respect yourself. I'm just saying. All right. So that's what boundaries are. Okay. And I want to take it a step further because I want us to understand boundaries. Oh, let's do this. Okay. Why do we struggle with boundaries? Okay. I want to make another note before I do that about boundaries. What I was just talking about was like physical boundaries or how you are treated. So this is boundaries between people, right? But internally, when we're talking about self-mastery, and this is important. When we talk about self-mastery, let me go back real quick. When we talk about self-mastery, this becomes a boundary in your mind. When you are reprogramming your brain, when you are rewiring your thought process, you also have to have boundaries for your thoughts. You cannot allow yourself to get out of bounds with your thought process. Okay? You cannot allow yourself to going down the rabbit hole that's going to sink you into thoughts that don't serve you. You have to have boundaries. You have to be able to stop yourself and say, we're not going to say that about ourselves. We're not going to do that to ourselves. We have to impose boundaries, self boundaries, right? Especially when you're working on mastering yourself that allow you to get to where you want to go. We talked about discipline before, right? We talked about self-discipline earlier on the podcast, so in the PodClass. So when we talk about self-discipline, when you have discipline, part of the elements of that are setting boundaries for yourself. To not allow yourself to get too far out of where you say you want to go for yourself. Okay, so think about that too as well when we're talking about boundaries, especially if you're someone who has mastered being able to set boundaries with other people. Examine how you set boundaries within yourself when you are, setting goals, or when you're rewiring or reprogramming your brain. Okay. So why we struggle with boundaries? So unenforced boundaries, right? A lot of people have boundaries, but they don't enforce them. Why we struggle with them is because they're unenforced. And why are they usually unenforced? Why do we not enforce our boundaries either with people or ourselves, right? It's fear of rejection. You start telling people how you want to be treated, and they might be like, well, I'm not going to treat you like nothing, and they're just going to walk away. And we are more scared. This is why you should have paid attention. And this is why you should have watched Pornoia last night. We usually have a fear. We have a need to feel loved, right? Where the need for love supersedes our boundary, right? And so the need for love, because it's externalized, we say, okay, well, I'm not going to enforce my boundary. Even I told them my boundary. I can't enforce it, because if I enforce it, they're going to reject me. Who are we respecting in there? If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, baby, keep them moving. That's what I said. Because the need for love should be fulfilled within. You should have enough love for yourself. That's where you're going to enforce a boundary when you love yourself, because you're not going to let nobody disrespect you, because you don't disrespect yourself. All right. So fear of rejection. This is one of the reasons why we have unenforced boundaries. Desire to please, people pleasing, because people want from us, right? Captain Save a Hoe. You want to save everybody. You want to please everybody. You cannot please everybody. You're not going to please everybody. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. Stop. You can't please everyone. And if you attempt to please everyone, you will find yourself at the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the totem pole, the bottom of the scum on somebody's shoes, because people will take advantage of someone who does not have boundaries. They don't know how to use their no. They don't know how to enforce the boundary, let alone set it. They don't. If set a boundary, you can set a boundary. They don't know how to enforce a boundary. And this is why we struggle with boundaries, because we haven't really learned how to enforce them. And we don't enforce them because of some of these needs that we have. We want to please people. We want to feel significant. We want to feel loved, right? Or something that we learned. We learned. When did you ever learn about boundaries? We don't even have the discussion when it's necessary to have the discussion about boundaries. Don't let people touch you. Don't physical boundaries. So that conversation is not even had sometimes. So where are we learning about setting healthy boundaries for ourselves? We don't really get that. So this is one of the reasons why we struggle with boundaries. So when people show up and they start telling you how they would like to be treated, we get offended. How you gonna treat me? That's actually the greatest thing to do. If you take the time to listen to what somebody is telling you they would like to be treated, guess what? You take all the guesswork out of it. All you got to do is treat the person how they have asked you to be treated. Not how you want to be treated, how they have asked to be treated. That's a whole nother level. So if you can articulate, if you can communicate your boundaries, right, and then enforce them, the person on the receiving end, that's almost like a great relationship. I don't have to guess how you want to be treated. All I have to do is listen. And that still becomes a problem because people don't, they just want to do what they want to do sometimes. Okay. So we're not going to allow people to disrespect us. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes. All right. Paranoia said, yes, so true. I had that issue. I'm glad I healed it. Yes, honey. We don't reject me, right? And if you don't like it, so what? Who cares? What she said at the end of that video, she said it was either them or me. It ain't gonna be me. It's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna give up everything that I had, my boundaries and stuff for sorry. No. Okay. And so you can please some people some of the times, all of the time. You can please all the people some of the time, but you cannot please all the people all the time. My mama taught me that. Amen. That is the truth. That is the truth. So the one thing that you should do is to honor yourself, honor what it is that you know that you need in relationship with people, and set boundaries. Let them know. Speak on it. And then hold them accountable and hold yourself accountable too. Because that's the thing. You can't really hold them accountable, but what you can do is hold yourself accountable. When they violate your boundary, you step off. Because that's how you really reinforce it. Because they don't even have to like it either way. Because a lot of times some people don't realize how serious a boundary is until they violate it and they lose access. They go to get at, and you be like, because I kindly asked you to such and such and such, and this is what's happened. So therefore, moving forward, we will blah blah. That is a clarity. That is clarity. That's why communication is one of my strong points. Okay, it's one of my babies. All right, so this is why we struggle with the boundaries. All right, let's go to the next segment. Oh, I said that already. All right, boundaries and responsibilities. So let's break it down. Who does what, when, where, why? And we already talked about this. Oh, this is. Let me see if I can move my thing over. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it like that. Bye. All right. So boundaries govern you. They don't govern the other person. They govern you. Boundaries they govern you. They allow you to have clarity in your decision-making process and your communication. That's what boundaries are for. You are responsible for your actions because you are the one who's responsible. See, I know myself. I have come to know myself, and I am irritated by stupidity, right? I'm irritated by stupidity. And I find that there is a lot, and please don't be offended, people. There's a lot of silliness, like, in the world, period. And what I had to realize is, Crystal, how are you reacting to this? Because that is all that you can control. All right. There's a saying, you can only control yourself. That is it. I can only control myself. So how am I reacting? Okay. And if I don't like it, and there's something that I see, it's like it's right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a line for myself. Draw a line for me, Crystal. When you get to this point, don't go no further. Don't allow anything else to enter. Don't go past. Don't collect $200. This is it right here, because once you get past here, you may not be able to control yourself. This is honesty. This is awareness. This is self-mastery. I can control myself because I know what ticks me off. I know what triggers me. And if when you're working and you're healing, still trying to get through those things, because I'm not perfect. Okay. And I don't know. God may be working on me with some things till the end. And maybe some things that just never get to the people's liking. Who knows? But I know what it is that I need. So I set boundaries that help me stay in alignment with who I say I am. And what is wrong with that? Because who's going to check you but you? Who's going to regulate you but you? Nobody else going to regulate you but you. I don't like to be told what to do. So I regulate myself. I govern myself accordingly. You ain't got to tell me what to do. I have my own standards and boundaries, and I enforce them. Thank you. And you are not responsible for other people's reactions. So regardless of what happens, when you set that boundary, it doesn't matter what they do. That boundary is for you to know what step it is you need to take when you get to that point. Whatever happened before that is what causes you to enforce the boundary. You don't really care how they feel after you enforce the boundary. That's not for you. That's you can send them a notice if you want. Boundary violated. You can send a boundary violation if you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And boundaries protect your energy and your peace. What's she saying in the song? She said, I'm gonna need some boundaries because I'm keeping my peace. Okay. Boundaries protect my energy and my peace. It's for me. It's so I don't get frustrated. I had a very interesting boundary. I live in a multi-generational home, and my mother she just loves to clean sometimes. And hi mom, please don't take it personal. I'm just sharing, okay? So and we don't have this problem anymore. But she used to love to just like do my laundry. And I'm like, but she was messing up some of my clothes, honestly. And and sometimes mix the clothes and this is the thing. I don't want to be upset. Listen, you don't have to wash my clothes. Even though people are like, you know what your mama doing? Listen, it's not for you to worry about. It's me. Because I'm the one who has a reaction. I'm the one who feels some kind of way about it. And I have to protect my peace and my energy. So if you like it, that's fine. But I don't. And so therefore, and I communicated my boundary, and it took us some time, but that she understands my boundary. And she was like, oh, but I just want to help. And I understood and I appreciate her willingness to help. But to protect my peace and my energy, please don't. Thank you. And we don't have that problem anymore. But see, it's the communication and it's the understanding. If boundaries are placed upon you and you are in a relationship with somebody and you value that person, let me give you a word of advice. Just listen to the person. Don't do what you think you want to do. I said it already. Listen to what they are telling you. Because if you run into somebody like me and you set a boundary, they set a boundary and you are super nice and you say, oh, but I just thought it would be better. Too. I'm going to look at you like, did you hear what I asked you to do though? Did you honor and respect me and my request in this relationship, or did you just do what you wanted to do? And someone who just does what they want to do, even when you communicate about it, they don't have respect for you. And so if you're not able to enforce that boundary with the person, then you show that person how to treat you. And you tell them that it is okay to disregard what I ask and what I communicate that I need in this relationship. Now, just because you ask for something again doesn't mean that somebody's obligated to do it. But what it says is, if the two of you can't understand the communication, then that means that this is not a relationship that either one of you need to be in. Because there is a lack of respect of person. And I will be damned if I let anybody disrespect me, especially when I get to the point where I govern myself accordingly and I could communicate what it is that my needs are, and you want to disrespect you. I don't. Have a blessed day. All right. So boundaries govern you, and that is the power of boundaries. And that is the power of boundaries. All right. So what was that? Where were we at? We're going to do our, let me go back to the quote so that we can understand, because we get ready to do the quiz time. So I hope that you have your pen, pencil, paper, notebook. I hope you have all your quizzes together too. If you missed the quizzes, then you should go back and take them all, because really it's not really a quiz, more so like an assessment for you to gauge where you are on your self-mastery journey and where you are on each topic each week. So when we're talking about boundaries, where are you with boundaries? Are you boundless boundaryless, or are you someone who fully embraces the boundaries because you have the ultimate self-respect for who you are? You know what it is that you need, and you don't have no problem with expressing that and communicating that to other people because you honor and respect who you are and you know exactly what you need. So, quote, it's not about keeping people out, but they are about staying connected to yourself, because boundaries actually help you gain clarity. Think about it. Boundaries help you gain clarity about who you are, what you want, what you need, what ticks you off, what makes you, all the things. So if you can identify your boundaries, you can see what's your stop limit. It becomes, again, self-respect. Because even if you don't tell anybody your boundaries, you set the boundaries so when you enter into a situation, a relationship, you can communicate that with other people. And that's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Okay. So where in your life are you saying yes when you truly mean no? I want you to think about that. Okay. Think about that while we're taking this quiz. All right, let's get to the quiz. Quiz. How strong are your boundaries? All right, first one, 1 to 5. I say no without guilt. Who can do that? All right. And 1 is not so much. Like 1 is I don't say no. I say yes all the time. And then 5 is, oh, my no is strong. I say no in multiple languages. No, and no. Nay. I'll crack myself up, yo. I'll be cracking myself up. Oh Lord. Okay. So where's your no? How can you use your no? And listen, because I had a tip. So one of my very dearest students, one of my very dearest, one of my favorite students, actually, she had a problem saying no. And I suggested to her, I said, maybe because you have a hard time saying no, you can ease your way into no. So if your no is not strong, you know what you can say? Let me think about it. I'll come back to you. But don't say yes right away. If you know you have a hard time saying no, give yourself some time to think about it. Do I really want to do that? Don't just say yes right away. Why did I say yes? Why do I want to say yes? Why should I say no? Why do I want to say no? Examine. Give yourself some time. Buy yourself some time. Well, let me see. Maybe next time, type of thing. Maybe later or something. But learn how to start to say no. Don't start to ease into not feeling so guilty when you say no. Okay. The next one. I communicate my needs clearly. I just said that, right? All right. So, I communicate my needs clearly. Are you clear? And 2, you may think you're clear, but if people don't understand it, if you constantly have people who misunderstand, then check how you may be communicating that. Are you communicating that clearly? Because you may be clear, but then you may not be communicating it clearly. All right. The next one is I feel when my energy is drained. I feel when my energy is drained. If you don't, then if you don't really feel when your energy, if you're not really present to that, then you may not have no boundaries. But if you do, you know, you be like, yeah, no. Because then that's the gauge I was saying. You know where to set your boundary. You know that you go past this point, I'm gonna be drained. I can't do nothing past this. I can't do no more than this. Because if I do more than this, it's gonna be a problem for me. I can't do it. That's how you govern yourself. You got 2 hours. That's it. All right, 2 hours. All right, 2 hours. All right. 4, I prioritize my well-being. Do you prioritize your well-being or do you put people first? Do you put people before you? Do you put everybody before you? And then the last one is I respect my own limits. That's it. That's right. That's right. She said, I'm still working on that. Instead of saying no, I say not now or working on it. That's it. That's right. That's right. So add them up. Tell us what your score is. Tell us where your score is. Where you at? Where you at? Mr. Cortland already told us where he at. I don't even know why he's in this class right now because he is. I hope you're able to learn something new from sitting in these sessions, Mr. Jones, because you come through with the clarity in things. And I hope that everyone, takes these times to really evaluate it and just know it can change from day to day. All right? Change from day to day. So that is wonderful. That is the quiz. Where are we at after this? All right. So y'all got homework. So first of all, let's talk about, did anybody do the homework from last week? Did anybody write their inner child a note, a letter, and tell them what they needed to hear? Did anybody do that? Now, I am going to share because me and my inner child have had, we're really bonded now. I did tell you about going to get her in the dark. It was a very scary thing. But we have more like conversations now where we relate to one another. And I'm talking about my inner child. And I'm constantly affirming her and how beautiful she is. Look at me. Look, I said, look how beautiful we are. Our skin is glowing. We're like supple. Look at that. Even my fine lines have like disappeared. I don't even know if you noticed that. I have. I think it's the collagen or something. I'm aging backwards. But how beautiful you are, how creative you are, how talented you are, how you have been holding on to gifts, girl, that I needed. I need that little creative, spunky brain that you got. So, I didn't necessarily write a letter to her, but we talk all the time. And I actually had, oh man, a situation where she kind of came out because she likes to rule things, and she is feisty. She's a little more feisty than I am, and I had set boundaries for her too. That's kind of what we're talking about here. When you talk about the inner boundaries, it's like you set boundaries for that inner child to say, okay, listen, baby, we're not doing that today. We don't do that anymore. We're free from that. We don't have to be. So it's more like knocking some of those walls down that she has, and letting her know that we will, and we do. All right. So I hope you guys wrote a letter. Write a letter to her or him. Let them know you love them. All right. This week's homework. The PodClass homework for this week is identify one area where you need a boundary. Write it down and practice expressing it this week. Where do you need a boundary? This is the beauty, and this is the providence of God, how he always be working it out and giving you just what you need. So I recently had to, like, you know what, I just can't talk about that anymore. Conversation conversation topics, I just can't do that anymore. I realize that my level of dealing with um, certain things, my capacity, going back to the quiz, do I know when I get drained? Do I know my limits? Absolutely. I know what my capacity is for stupidity. Do you know what your capacity is for stupidity? I know what my capacity is for stupidity. It is very low. And and so in that case, my capacity for stupidity allows I know that a boundary for that is, Crystal, shut up. Don't say nothing else. You can't control them. You can't control how smart and stupid they are. You can't do it. Just be quiet. Don't say nothing else. And they actually say, you know what? I really can't engage in this conversation. My capacity for stupidity has been filled, and I no longer can engage in this conversation. No, yeah. It's the truth. Gosh, it's very freeing for me. It helps me keep my peace. Now you got to think about what you just said. And be like, dang, go on. But again, don't use me as the capacity for stupidity, because my capacity is very low. Get somebody else. All right. So where identify one area where you need a boundary and write it down and practice it this week. Okay, guys. That is this week's pod class. We were talking about boundaries. All right. And just a few more notes. Boundaries, again, are not walls. When used properly, boundaries protect you, right? They not protect you. They govern you. They help you govern yourself. Okay. It's not this thing of, oh, you can't. Listen, if somebody is offended by your boundaries, then please let them keep walking. Okay. All right. If they feel like it's a wall they got to try to climb, that means they're trying to get into you and they don't have no good intentions. They want to come and ransack you. Why you want to climb my wall? So bad. Question that. Anyone who just they just seem to constantly want to violate your boundaries. Ask the why. That is weird. So, get them boundaries. Get clear on them. Learn to communicate them. Articulate your boundaries. Enforce your boundaries. Understand the need. Why would you disrespect yourself and your boundary to allow someone else to feel comfortable? That is disrespectful to you, to your person. Just let that marinate for a minute. Just let that marinate. All right. I am your host, Smart Video Girl, your host guide for the pod class introducing. This has been another wonderful week. We will be talking about, we're going to get into ego next week. We're going to be getting into some ego next week. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be fun. And I love talking about the ego because we all have one, It's almost like the fall from grace. The ego is your most basic human is all ego. Your basic human is all ego, right? All ego. But we're gonna talk about what that really is next week. But this week I want you to practice your boundaries. I want you to practice those boundaries. I want you to master your self-respect. I want you to know what it is that you will and will not. Okay? Where you live, and also think about how you set boundaries in your mind, in your activities. Listen, so even a boundary, this is a boundary. Don't let yourself get consumed by things like social media, right? That's a boundary. I will not allow myself to look at certain things. You're not gonna keep me emotional, and that that's a good one. You're not gonna get me emotionally invested or trapped into a situation. That is a boundary. If I start hearing foolishness, I will shut it down. Turn it off, turn the channel. Certain songs, that's a boundary. I don't allow my ears to hear certain things. I don't allow my ears to hear, I don't allow my eyes to see certain things. That's a boundary. It's a respect for myself and for what I know I can tolerate. There's limits to what I can tolerate. And I'm an empath. And if I allow myself to get too attached or see too much or get too close to something, it literally consumes me. I have to protect my peace. I have to protect my mind. I have to protect my heart, especially as someone who is empathic. So boundaries become essential in your survival, especially when you are a caring person, when you are an open person. And those people, us people like that, are usually the ones who have the hardest time enforcing our boundaries. So in order for us to continue to protect ourselves, I can go on and on about this because I really do value boundaries. I really do understand the value of boundaries, and they have saved my life. And a lot of times they have kept my peace. I sleep great at night because I have boundaries that I conduct myself by. Get you some. Get you some boundaries. All right. We are done. I'm so glad that you walked with me through this class, through this particular lesson. I hope you have some great notes. I hope you identified a boundary that you can utilize and practice and implement and enforce in this week. And I want to hear about it next week, okay? When we talk about the ego. But then until then, we're gonna wrap this show up and wrap it up. Again, boundaries are the highest form of self-respect. I am your host guide, Smart Video Girl, and I will see you next week. All right, peace. I love you.